What are a few of the most important design elements involved in creating a successful app?
Well, I'm the kind of designer that, I think first and foremost, you have to have good content. You have to understand the structure of the content, and you have to understand the use cases. So before you begin to design anything, you have to understand what you're working with. What is the foundation on which you're going to be building this design, or what is the foundation you're going to give to the content through the design. So the question was, what design elements are important? I mean, I just think it's a respect for that, especially if we're talking about content-driven applications, products. It's a respect for the reader. So it's understanding the context in which they're going to be engaging that content, right? So it's like, if you're designing something for the iPad versus for the iPhone versus for the desktop, entirely different use contexts. And so entirely different use times, places, mindsets, and if you don't take that into consideration into the design, if you're just doing ports, if you're doing one-to-ones between each of these devices, it's really disrespectful to the user. And again, that feeds back into the loop in which the publisher also has to be aware. Why am I using this device? Why am I trying to get this content out on this platform? And how can those feature sets shift between platforms to better accommodate those contexts? And so, as a designer, the design elements that are important for the app are it's an awareness of that, Okay.
What are the biggest challenges facing app developers right now as we do this digital transition?
Well, I think it's just, there's especially, again, related to content, is that the standards are changing so quickly. And we're all iterating kind of in real time, experimenting in real time, which is what makes it exciting. But it also makes it tough to, in the sense that what you build today is probably in 6 months going to have to be rethought if you want to stay relevant. Just because someone else is going to be coming in, building off of seeing what you did and what you did right and wrong. The standards of engagement with content aren't such that what you build today will be okay 2 or 3 years from now. And so it's staying on top of that cycle and being willing to destroy what you just created, to build what should have been there in the first place, but we couldn't see, that no one was able to see right now. That's what makes it so interesting to be doing this work.
Right. You recently implemented several integrations with Flipboard. What sorts of future integrations are in the works or being discussed?
When you say integrations, you mean like Google Reader,
yes.
Flickr?
Yes.
The goal really, and I think the thing that Flipboard is doing particularly well is that those integrations become seamless, right? It's like, I think one of the main goals at Flipboard that we try to really drive home is that you plug in these sources and we remove the sourciness from it. So it's like when you're reading stuff in Flipboard, it's not like I'm engaging Twitter or engaging Facebook necessarily or Flickr or whatever. It's I'm just aware of the great content that's available through these, that's being curated, micro-curated by my social groups through these different services. And so, we're just trying to bring on any other service that may be useful, that may provide another curatorial context that we can sort of obfuscate. There's this obfuscation of that social network layer. And on top of that, what we're building is this sort of comfortable consumption layer, as fed by human curation of your friends. So as for exact integrations going forward, every social network, ideally we want people to be able to plug every social network they can find into this, and then sort of, you don't have to worry about that. You can just get the content, hopefully in a stress-free way, from those networks.
Okay. Finally, MC Hammer just released a single through Flipboard. How successful was that, and what other sorts of out-of-the-box applications would you like to see happen?
Well, the MC Hammer thing is interesting because, first of all, he's like the nicest guy in the world, and he has the most beautiful signature. Like you'd never imagine MC Hammer to have this like gorgeous, like sort of swarthy, sort of cursive signature, and he signed our wall a couple times. And everyone takes pictures with him. He's high-fiving everybody. He comes to the office all the time. He's just like this tech guy that likes to, he's become a tech guy that just likes to hang out at all these different sort of startup offices. So it was successful. I don't know the exact metrics, but it was on Oprah. That in and of itself is useful. It's very successful. I mean,
sure.
for hitting an audience that I think probably had never had an awareness of Flipboard, let alone that MC Hammer was still releasing music. It was kind of a win-win. I think an interesting sort of combination there. But like the work that we did with MC Hammer was part of the Flipboard Pages program where we're collaborating. We just released Elle magazine for Fashion Week. All the runway shows you can see in these kind of beautifully laid out templates specific to that publisher. So MC Hammer kind of was, in a way that relationship was like a publisher. He was a publisher, and we were sort of helping him get his content into Flipboard in the way that made the most sense for that content. So we built a module for playing his music, for being able to release that single, for doing kind of special like integration with his Twitter network, things like that. And right now it's a total experimentation phase, and all of these partnerships that we're doing, it's we're just trying to see. We're not charging. We're not trying to make money off this right now. We're just trying to see what is this experience like for the content providers, those publishers, for the readers, and also from a technological point of view for us as a platform provider. It's a huge open experiment where we're trying to create the most benefit for everyone, getting interesting content to readers in a beautiful way, helping put that content in front of readers more easily for the publishers, and also create a technology that's extensible that will allow even more people to do those sorts of template-based, specific content-driven presentation layers within Flipboard that aren't necessarily sort of bespoke like we're building right now for folks like MC Hammer. So it's just part of a longer-term goal of trying to find great ways to bring content to people.
Okay. Thank you very much for speaking with me.